Welcome to Mindset Mondays, where we empower contractors like you with the tools, systems, and frameworks, not just to succeed in business, but in life as well. Join us as we explore the strategies that will elevate your work, insights that will clear your path, and stories that will inspire your journey. Because here, it's about more than just the build. It's about crafting a legacy. Welcome back to Mindset Monday. I'm your host, Gerritt Payton of the American Contractor Network. This is brought to you in conjunction with Contractor Plus, the only CRM you will ever need to grow your contracting business. Man, I'm so excited to be here with you guys today on this beautiful Monday morning, depending on what part of this country you're in. Some of you guys are experiencing sunshine, some of you rain, and hell, here in Idaho, snow. Actually, I'm in Utah. My bad. But last night it snowed, or yesterday I should say it snowed, literally 4 inches on the ground, which is kind of crazy considering it's May 5th. Well, today, May 6th, right? If you are watching us live, go ahead and drop your name, your business, where you're from in the comments, and we'll make sure that we shout you out. But excited to be able to share with you guys today. Now, this last week was a really interesting week for me. Interesting in a way of like being exposed to some things that I hadn't been exposed to before. Let me explain what I mean by that. Now, think about this. And this is just a question for you to ponder. As a contractor, what's the largest job that you ever landed? Think about it. Was it a $3,000 job, a $30,000 job, a $3 million job? Like, what was the largest job you ever landed? And I say that because I want you to think about it for a second. We got Ground Fog. What's up, my man? Christina from Zacharias Landscaping. Welcome. Tristan, the Tarp guys. Great to have you here. Now, I ask about the largest job because my mind was kind of blown this last week. And I say that because most of the folks that I've dealt with over the years, they're doing jobs anywhere from, $3,000 a job to, I think the largest was maybe 400,000, maybe 500,000. And in the last few weeks, some of the guys that I've worked with have started landing some pretty significant contracts. I'm talking into millions of dollars. And I'm not talking a general contractor. I'm talking about a sub. Christina, an $11,000 concrete or cement job. That's great. And I'll tell you, there's some bigger ones out there. And you're a perfect example. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So this last couple of weeks, checking in with clients and their jobs and some of the opportunities that have presented themselves, some in the residential space, some of them in the commercial space. But some of these guys have landed some pretty significant contracts. Ryan McEntee, Key West Remodeling, welcome to the show. And Christina, I know you know. So this is going to be a fun one for you. But we look at this and we say, okay, what is it that I believe is possible for my business? And when we start out, we're not landing multi-million-dollar jobs. Give you an example. My good friend Scott, who's in Idaho, he does exterior landscape and concrete work. And when he first started doing the business, if you will, I think 12, 15 years ago, he was doing $3,000 to $4,000 jobs, right? Just basic little slab of concrete, maybe a little grass, maybe a couple of trees and some shrubs, and off he went. He's currently averaging $250,000 per job, right? We got John that says largest I ran was over $1 million. My work has 200 grand in NYC. Nice. Very, very good. And it's $250,000 a job. That's what he's averaging right now. And some of those jobs are 7-figure jobs, right? An electrician that I work with as well prefers to remain anonymous, but he just landed a $2.1 million job. A roofer, commercial roofer that I work with, just landed a $3.7 million job. A guy that works with waterproofing on commercial projects. He's working on a baseball stadium, a couple of multifamily projects and whatnot. Waterproofing. I think we all know what waterproofing is. He just landed a $700,000 job. Like, I say this because I want you guys to start to believe that what you see as being possible for your business is actually not what's really possible. There's so many opportunities available out there. Whether it's in government work, whether it's commercial, residential, it doesn't matter. There's so many opportunities. Now, I'm not telling you to change your business model. If you're a service plumber and your job is to go in and fix drains, unclog drains, you're probably not going to be selling $1 million drain job. But I do want you to start to think outside the box of what's truly possible. First off, for all of you, I don't care if you're doing $300 jobs or $3 million jobs. Okay. You should understand what the minimum amount of work that you're willing to do. It could be 7 figures, could be 6 figures, could be 5 figures, but whatever it is, you need a minimum. Why? Because you're not fighting for table scraps. And you need to get out of that mindset. The majority of contractors didn't grow up with a golden spoon. They didn't grow up in the nicest neighborhoods. They didn't drive the nicest cars. Their families didn't always function the nicest ways. And unfortunately, they take that into the contracting space. They take that into their business. And they say, I've been treated like this for my whole life. Therefore, that's what I'm worth. Somebody else established your worth. And I know it because I grew up in a very similar scenario. Now, I will tell you, thank the good Lord that my parents stuck it out together. And so I was, I guess one of the 50% of the lucky ones. But my dad was a school teacher in a poor little border town. I remember having powdered milk. That's right, powdered milk, oats, right? We would make our own bread. I mean, it was the poorest of the poor. Like we thought it was a good day when we had tortillas and we put butter and cinnamon and sugar on them. Like that was a good day, right? Like I understand what it's like to have to tape up your shoes because your parents can't afford to buy a new pair. Like I know this. And I know this. And I also know how it affected my life. When I first became a police officer, I was getting paid, I think it was like 50 grand a year. I was like, man, I don't even know what to do. This is crazy. Right? Like I'm actually making money. But then I attached that money to what somebody else thought I was worth. 7 years ago when I started consulting and we started working on some of our other business ventures, it was the same thing. I can't do that project. I'm too small. I can't do that project. I'm not good enough. I can't do that project. I've never done it before. I know, Christina, you were talking about, year one, you've been in business 6 years, you get bids daily, but your husband thinks that he's not big enough to do those jobs. Great story. Wish your husband was here listening to this. It's a great story, right? These are all stories that we're telling ourselves about the reality that exists in our lives. Let me let you in on a secret. You create your own reality. You want to build a 7-figure business? You have to believe in your mind that you're a 7-figure business owner first. Because when you walk into the room and you try and close a 7-figure deal and you're pooping your pants, we'll keep it PG, you're pooping your pants, you're not going to close that 7-figure deal. People can see, they can feel you, your energy. They look in your eyes and they see the lack of confidence. They're not going to buy you. And that's who they're buying is you. You walk in and a homeowner, you're like, hey, this backyard's going to be a $75,000 project. And the homeowner says, well, that's BS. I'm not paying that. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe, like how much can you afford? And and you start backpedaling like they've got you. Right? So it starts with you. And today I do want to talk a little bit about sales frameworks and some strategies that you guys can deploy. But I really want you to see what matters most. And that is you and your mind and what you're thinking and what you're experiencing, what you're telling yourself, and ultimately what it is that you're telling others. No, it doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It doesn't. It doesn't matter the shirt that you have. By the way, this isn't even my shirt. This is my buddy's sweater. I love it. Yes, I am wearing a sweatshirt on May 6th because it snowed last night. But this isn't like people aren't buying this. Last year, I quit caring about pushing my business, the name anyway, because people didn't care about the name. What did they care about? Me and what I could add value for them. So you have to start thinking better of yourself. You have to start believing that you're worth more. Every single one of you is worth a 7-figure contract. Every single one of you. I believe it. But do you? Now, along those same lines, right? We start talking about And Christina, I'll hit that here in a minute. Love that you posted that he speaks nothing but Spanish. That's great. Congratulations. Welcome to the trades. Like most of them speak Spanish. It's the reality of the situation. It's not an excuse though. Anyway, let's get back to this. Now, I know that a lot of you guys wake up late at night. I know that you guys get up early in the morning. I know that sometimes you're sitting in your truck driving down the road and you're stressing out. You're freaking out. You're worried. You're anxious, right? About what? You're anxious about the bills. You're anxious about the outstanding estimates you have out there. You're anxious about your employees. You're anxious. Like we could just keep going on and on and on. But here's the crazy thing about anxiety, about the stress, right? The source of all anxiety comes from you, and I include me in that statement, but it comes from you spending time thinking about things that you don't have control over. Things that you don't control. Now think about that for a minute. I want you to consider that statement. I want you to think about the last time that you were anxious or stressed out. In fact, it might be right now. Probably is. But what is the thing that you're worried about? And it's something that you don't control. Can you control the economy? No, you can't. Can you control politics? Nope, can't control that. Can you control the weather? Nope, can't control that. Can you control whether Johnny is going to show up today? No, you can't control that, right? And so instead of stressing about the things that we can't control, instead of having anxiety about the things that are out of our control, what is it that we can do? Well, we can focus on the things that we do control, that we can control. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. David Roth from DR Home Services in Marlboro, New Jersey. Welcome to the show. What is it that we can control, right? Now, I want to specifically talk to you guys about the sales process itself. And for some of you, this will be a review, and that's great. For some of you, you're going to have your eyes open. Some of you are going to look at this thing and go, are you kidding me? I have to think about this thing all the time? Yes, you do. Now, I don't care if you're doing $5 million a year, if you're doing $50,000 a year. If you don't have leads, you won't have sales. If you don't have sales, you won't have a business, period. Let's just put that out there. I'm not going to talk about marketing today. I'm actually going to talk about sales. But understand, if you don't have enough sales appointments, it's because you don't have enough leads. So you need to go get more leads, not from Angie's list, right? But you need to go get some more leads, and we can have that conversation at another point. Let's assume that you have the leads. Let's assume that you're having the opportunity to meet with builders, to meet with developers, to meet with homeowners, right? And have this opportunity to close some deals. That's what I want to talk to you about. Most people who get into the contracting space do not come from a sales background. Hell, I didn't come from a sales background. But I had to learn sales, and it is a learned skill, and all of you can learn it. And there's some experts out there that you can go follow and get really good at sales. I'm not that expert. Again, I'm the frameworks guy, so I understand frameworks and I can help you with that. But if you want some advice, we can help you with that. Michael we'll get to your questions here in a minute, right? If you don't want to do $100,000 jobs, yeah, that's fine. Right? I'm not telling you have to. What I'm telling you is that what you believe is possible is limiting what it is that's truly possible. Okay. Now let's get into this. Sales. What is your job in a sales presentation or in a sales conversation? What is your job? Your job is to get the other person to make a decision. Notice I didn't say get the other person to say yes. Go to used car lot. They will try and sell you to say yes, most of them. But that's not what we're after. What we're after is get somebody to make a decision. And the decision is either yes or no, not maybe. We don't want maybes, right? The infinite land of maybes. But nobody's got time for that, right? So it's to get them to make a decision. If we understand that, then we have a responsibility. And that responsibility is to give them as much information as possible to help them make that decision. Now, we want that decision to be a yes. And so, of course, that's the information that you're going to give them. But regardless, that's what it is that we want to do. Johnny on the spot, welcome to the show. So if our responsibility is to give them the information to help them make a decision, an informed decision, what are we doing? Okay, now this is part of the sales process. Too many contractors think that sales is when you sit down in front of somebody and you're having that conversation. You're showing them the pictures or the videos. You're writing down and negotiating the price. That is not the sales process. That is part of the sales process. The sales process begins prior to you ever stepping foot in their home, in their office, or on the job site. How many of you have something in place that is helping your potential client learn more about you, learn more about your product and service, learn more about what makes you special, different, unique, so on and so forth, before you ever meet them in person, at their home, at their office, on the job site? How many of you? What does it look like? Right? Think about it. You're not selling a roof. You're not selling a yard. You're not selling fencing. You're not selling remodeling. You're selling a solution to a problem. And so if you're not connecting with your potential client on a solution to their problem, what's the likelihood of you being able to solve it, i.e. close the deal? Not very high, right? So let's think about this. The first thing that you're going to need as part of your sales process, okay, is the pre-sale. What am I doing to warm this person up and get them prepared for what's happening? Now, again, I've worked with hundreds of contractors over the years, and I will tell you the ones that experience sustained growth are the ones that understand this. Give you a perfect example. Working with a basement finisher / remodeler this last week. And we were sitting down and he was showing me what it is that he's created. He's created this very simple document that's called What to Expect. That's it, what to expect. Now, in this state, along with many other states out there, there's a requirement to be licensed and to be insured. Now, what is the thing, and he works with homeowners primarily, what is the thing that most homeowners freak out about? They freak out about getting ripped off. They freak out about somebody doing bad work. They freak out about, something getting halfway done and then not being completed. They hear the horror stories. They see them out there. So what are you doing to overcome that doubt? It's called trust. So what he did is he put together this What to Expect document. And inside of the What to Expect document, he has a picture of his license. Inside of the same document, he has a picture of his insurance. Inside of the same document, he has a picture of his entire team. And he tells the story of his business, how they got started, why they got started, what it is that they're doing, what it is that matters most to them. Now, do you believe that that is going to help a potential client overcome the trust objection? 100%. Because how many companies out there are doing something similar? Not many, right? So again, an example. Now, when we talk about sales, there are really only 5 main objections. 5, that's it. Every objection is going to fall into one of these 5 buckets. And I don't care if you're doing government work, residential, commercial, doesn't matter if it's $10 jobs or $100,000 jobs or $1 million jobs. They all fall into these 5 buckets. The first one, money. Money. Does the person have the money to afford the thing that they want? That's the first thing, okay? The second one, time. Do they have the time to get the thing done? 3, need. Do they actually have the need right now? 4 is urgency, right? What's the urgency for them to take action today? And then the 5th one is trust. That's it. Those are the 5. Money, time, need, urgency, trust. Now, for some of you, some of them are going to be a little more focused than others. And for some of you, you're going to have other ones, right? Now, if you're working with general contractors and big commercial projects, there's going to be a different order of operations, right? They're very much project management driven. Excuse me. They're very much timeline driven. In fact, inside of their contracts, they will tell you, if you don't get this done in the prescribed time that you said you were going to get it done, they're going to start charging you money. Not a place we want to be in, right? So again, these are the 5 objections. Now, how do we overcome these 5 objections? By the way, I'm just giving you very high level. There's nuances to all this stuff, and I highly recommend, if you really want to get good at sales, there's books, there's experts online that you can follow and really dive into this. But I want to give you guys a basic understanding, a basic framework. So let's start with the biggest one, time, right? I don't have time to deal with this right now. I don't have time to supervise this thing right now. I don't have time to get this thing done right now, right? That's a huge objection that you're going to deal with. So how do you respond to it, right? Now, a couple different ways. I want to give you guys options, okay? The first one is, as we talked about, the pre-sale. What can you do to overcome the time objection in a pre-sale? Well, you can start talking about how quickly and efficient you get jobs done. Our average job, and you should know these numbers, our average job takes 12 hours, takes 2 hours, takes 30 minutes, takes 7 days, right? How long is this thing going to take me? Why do people not want to build a new home? Well, yes, some of it's price, but some of it is also time. You're telling me it's going to take me 12 months to get a new home? Like, I don't have time for 12 months. I don't want your solution. Sound right? So again, in your pre-sale, talk about time. Now, if they bring up time in the conversations that you're having with them, well, what is it that you can talk about? Well, there's a couple different things, okay? The first thing you have to do is always acknowledge an objection, by the way. Always acknowledge it. Mr. Homeowner, I completely understand. Time's precious. It's important. You've got a lot on your plate. The good news is we handle everything from start to finish. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. Here it is, how we do things, right? We can get started whenever it is that fits your schedule best, right? Again, overcome that time objection. We all are struggling with time. Doesn't matter how big you are, doesn't matter how small you are, doesn't matter how big your house is, how small it is. We all struggle with time, right? The second one, and you guys love this one, it's the money objection. How many times have you guys had somebody say, this is too expensive? Well, part of that can be dealt with prior to you having an in-person. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Mindset Mondays. Thank you for joining us and being a part of this incredible journey to not just be great at what you do, but to live a great life too. Remember, every tool, tip, and story shared here is a step towards building your dream, both on and off the job site.